Good morning. Hi, everybody. It is typical timing. I believe the landscape crew is going to be like buzzing outside of our window here in the next few minutes. So apologies. Also, look at all of the sun streaming in. So first of all, beautiful sunny day here in Florida. It's a little cold, but you can see from the blinds over here all of the lines. So I just told Eric, I said, I think maybe I need to go ahead and invest in a retractable blind there. And he said, yes. So I'm going to go shopping. Anyway, so hey guys, good morning. Happy Martin Luther King Day. Let's start off right with that. Happy Martin Luther King Day. The kids are on school for holiday. Lots of businesses are closed. Perhaps my favorite MLJ. Did I just say that? MLK. You know what I'm thinking of, and we'll get to it later, is this particular quote. So if you are staying home from work today because it is a holiday, whether it's a different part of the country, and so it's not even time for you to be at work, maybe it's time for you to be home from work, thank you for joining us. And we are excited to have you guys with us. So there's a lot to talk about. I already got a couple of really good questions. So we are going to talk about our what's brewing, but I have a few other things to talk about as well. And honestly, Eric changed a few things right here at the last minute. So I don't even know. I'm going to have to go by my little board over here as to what we're going to talk about. So again, good morning. It is a little bit chilly here today, and therefore I have my cold mug. This is a leftover Christmas mug, but because it has a little snowflake, it reminded me that when I took Penny out this morning to do her business outside, the ground was kind of frosted over. So yes, even in Florida, every once in a while, we will get a cold front that gives us some chilly weather. Candidly, I love it because I know it's not going to last long. I know that depending on where you are around the country, you may have, it's cold, so it's cold for months, right? In Florida, if we get, oh, hi Maggie. If we get if we get some cold weather here, we know it's only going to last a day or two. So we kind of really embrace it. It gives us the opportunity to break out that thicker sweatshirt or sweater, or finally get to wear that coat or that cute scarf and do so and not melt. But yeah, so we're excited. So we actually had a cold Christmas. We talked about that before, but yeah, the past couple days has been pretty chilly as well. So I'm excited for it, candidly. And I'm also excited because I'm going to be going to New York later, which we'll also talk about. So I'm excited about an abundance of cold here soon. And we'll get going there. Yes, sir?
You got Teddy Bushama, you got Fermin from the Philippines.
I know. This is, and Alex is here. Alex
is here, yeah.
Alex.
Like all kinds of people.
I know. I try. So in the beginning, as soon as we start, I try to say hi to everybody, but then all of a sudden, like everyone else is popping in. So I haven't been able to say hi to everybody, but hi everybody. But yeah, so Alex, I need you to text me later, my friend. Let me know how things are going with your home. So Alex actually closed on his home a couple months ago at this point. But it's a good time to kind of follow up, make sure everything is happening like it's supposed to. There's a lot of things that don't, and this is Alex here. This is you, sweetheart. Because a lot of things can present themselves after you've lived in the home for a little while that aren't going to necessarily present themselves when you're just doing walkthroughs. So Alex, follow up with me. You're actually on my list anyway. And since you're here with me this morning, hey friend, let me know kind of how the house is going, if there's anything I need to follow up on for you.
I know everybody, but Nashad is there too.
I know. I just saw that. Nashad is here. I know. This is so exciting. Like I've got all my friends and my family. It's because you're all my family. I have a very big for men, and this is fantastic. I love it. Yes. Okay. And I swear, I need Garrett. I don't know, but I love you.
You
so
told us last time.
Yes, you did. So you told us last time. I think you said the second way I pronounced it was correct. I don't know what the second way that I pronounced it was. All I know is that we adore you, and thank you always for joining in. And I do apologize when I know I pronounce it wrong. But I shouldn't. I'm going to ask my son because he actually has been learning Welsh a little bit. So I'll ask him. Maybe he can help me with that. Anyway, good morning, everybody. So yeah, we are honestly super excited. We have a lot to talk about, a couple of good topics. And I actually had a question very early on. So Tracy, you had asked a question that we'll kind of do a quick brief overview of that as well. And LG, you've got a question in there too. So just as a quick reminder before we get into the fun stuff, if you have a question, it's okay if you forget, but if you have a question, if you can put the capital Q with the colon, that will just help me search it a little bit better with all the chat stuff happening to the side. If you forget, that's okay. Eric and Allie and Forrest are kind of following up with me and making sure I don't miss them. And then don't forget to like and subscribe. Excuse me, that certainly helps us. We know, honestly, we've done the research. We know that Monday mornings at 9 a.m. is probably the worst time for us to try to do something like this. But I don't care because I'm not in it for the best time. I'm in it for you guys. And you guys are my diehard crew that are with me all the time. And you are my morning cup of coffee on Mondays. And it's a great way for me to start the week. So thank you again for joining in. So with that note, we're going to get going to what's brewing because there's lots and lots and lots to talk about. Okay, so these are our topics. So, you know, what's funny is Eric is putting together these, you know, the little buttons and all the things, either late in the night or early in the morning. And last night, I could hear all sorts of screaming happening where the boys were watching football. So apparently the playoffs are happening. Is this right? Yeah. Am I with it? So, no, I'm just kidding. I know the playoffs are happening, but so we happen to be Bengals fans. That is from Eric's dad and mom were, I guess, grew up in Ohio, or your mom went to college in Ohio, and his dad was in Miami of Ohio. Miamisburg. Anyway, so they have grown up Bengals fans through all of the times where you really didn't want to announce that you were a Bengals fan. But anyway, so they are, our family are Bengal fans. And then exactly. I have a question. Huh? You have a question? Okay, Eric has a question. Hold on, let me put it up. Good grief. Eric, who day? Go beat them Bengals. I know. So yeah, anyway, big Bengals fan. So who told me that they were cold in Ohio earlier? Pam. So Pam, are you a Bengals fan? You have to let us know. Anyway, so yeah, so we are, and they won last night, and there was quite a moment that I actually had to. They were hooping and hollering so loud in the other room that I had to stop watching my Netflix show and turn it on football to see what had happened. Because candidly, okay, so this is what happens when you are the spouse of someone who is very, very, very into football, or a mother of someone who's very, very into football. And you know that they have an emotional connection and an emotional charge to these athletic endeavors. And so when I hear the hooping and hollering, or ultimately the screaming, I have to mute what I'm watching to find out, is this a good scream or a bad scream, right? Like what's happening? Did something good happen or bad happen? And then sometimes if I don't know, then I have to stop what I'm watching. I find the TV station in my room separately so that I can brace myself.
What an inconvenience.
It is a big inconvenience. So that I can determine whether or not the hoop and hollering was a good thing for our family or not. And I will tell you that last night, it was a fantastic thing. We will not talk about the Chargers. Not going to talk about that. My son loves the Chargers, or I might want to put that as past tense at this point. I think he's done with them. Has a whole helmet and everything. Who's that helmet that he has? Keenan Allen. Got that at an elementary school auction or something. Anyway, but yeah, I think he might be done with them. So anyway, congratulations to the Bengals and to my family for having a successful win last night. How many more games do they have to play though? What? How many more games?
Well, next weekend is the divisional round, so it's three more rounds of playoffs.
3 more rounds of playoffs. Okay. Anyway, so yay, congratulations to them. And honestly, it really is kind of exciting. I love it when they do it. And so I don't know if we've ever told you this, but do you know those? Oh, Eric, will you grab me one of those little helmets?
Yeah, sure.
So I have to tell you something that we do. Our son has done this since he was itty bitty. And every year, or every other year, or every so often, Eric will always buy the packs of the mini football helmets. And they, oh, of course, you're bringing me the Bengals one. Duh.
Well, that's
Okay, of course. So these little types of helmets, right? So, right, you know what I'm talking about? So at the beginning of, or I guess at the end of the week, once the games are over for that week, Dawson will set up all of the helmets with who's facing each other, all in one long line across our TV in the family room. Okay. Whoop. And as the team wins, he will move them forward, right? And so it's so cute that still to this day he does that. It's one of my favorite things that they've got all these little helmets. And now that we're into playoffs, half of those are gone now. We put those back in the box, and it's just these last few helmets that are out there vying for the whatever. Anyway, so that's just kind of exciting. Just thought I'd share that with you. All right, so let's talk about pre-approvals. So this is a topic that I thought that we could touch on, and this was actually going to go, Tracy, a little bit to your question that you had earlier about, Tracy's question was, what are the steps of buying a home? Is it saving money or getting financing? So this isn't the answer to that question, but because of my specific topic today, this...
I didn't make you a button.
Huh?
I didn't make you a button. You
that's okay.
Pre-approval thing.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, you did, right here. You did. Pre-approval, right?
Fancy.
Eric did that for me at the last minute, so have to do that. Okay, so pre-approval. So it's a really much longer conversation, and we probably don't want to get into all of that today, although we can, because I talk. But let's talk about the actual act of getting pre-approved or pre-qualified and what the difference is between them, and what the process is like when you are actually going through the pre-approval. And this actually stems from a client of mine who is going through that process, and the frustration and the inconvenience, and sometimes you think the unnecessary added, kind of stress and anxiety over that. So when you are, first of all, let's define what's happening. You're asking a bank or a lender to loan you hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they need to have required documentation and essentially proof that you can afford to take that loan and that you will pay it back. So that's why they request all of those documents. And when you do, like on maybe a builder's website, or you can do like mortgage calculators, there's all sorts of tools out there where you can punch in your own numbers and determine whether or not how much, like people are like, oh, how much can I afford in a mortgage payment? So you can enter all that stuff in, but that's not the same thing as having a conversation with the lender, because the lender is going to pull your credit. They are going to have a far more in-depth knowledge of your debt to income ratio, which is super duper important. And a part of that is going to come from documents. So when they talk to you at first, it's in generalities, right? It's, okay, well, here's my social security number. They're going to pull that. They find out what your credit score is. They're going to find out, again, who you owe money to, how much is that, what is that debt to income ratio? Is it within the parameters of a specific loan structure? That's all basic information. They're going to say, how much do you make? You tell them how much you make. You tell them how much you have saved. So there's a lot of this information that you're telling them, and they're going to assume is true and accurate. However, you cannot be approved for a loan. No one is going to give you hundreds of thousands of dollars or loan that to you without proof that you do have a job with a salary that you said that you did, or that you do have the savings that you say that you did, or the investments that you say that you did. Or that for the past couple of years that you filed your taxes with an income of what you say that you earned. So when they first have that conversation, they kind of spit out the letter with some information, good, valuable information, but they don't necessarily have the supporting documents. And that's what is important, because that's where the frustration can come in for the average person looking to get a loan, is that you feel like, okay, I found the house, we wrote the contract, we've signed off on it, we sent them the initial earnest money deposit, and you think you're done. And the reality is, no, you're not. You still have the obligation and the requirement to provide the additional documents that lender is going to need. And they will need things like, and what I'm telling you now, Tracy, I'm going to go back to your question earlier. Anyone that is looking anytime within the next year ish to potentially purchase a home or to, to move, to get a new mortgage, to take out a loan. Start to accumulate some of these documents now to make it much easier for you when you actually have to submit them to the lender. Things like making sure that with your online banking that you have the ability to download bank statements, credit card statements, all pages, by the way, not just the one sheet that has a number, but like just the entire statement for that month, that you have a way to download those and put them into maybe a folder on your desktop. Yes, with online banking, you can usually go back in and retrieve those whenever you need them. But it just can save you a little bit of time and frustration if you are thinking a little bit more ahead of the game and going, okay, well, I need, I'm going to be taking out a loan here in the next 6 months. So let me get 6 months worth of these bank statements. They may not ask for 6 months, but at least you'll have those ready so that you can submit them. And that means bank statements. That means credit card statements. That means investments, any of the investments that you have here and there. Make sure you have access to those to essentially show where those are and what those numbers look like. You will need tax returns, copy of your tax returns for the past couple of years. You will need pay stubs for however long the builder tells you, usually for a couple of months. Now, if you are moving somewhere to Florida because you have a new job, you are going to need, you don't necessarily, excuse me, so let's say you're moving here and you need to get your mortgage, but you haven't actually started your job yet. Okay, that's okay. You just need to show them what we call a proof of employment letter or an offer letter. And that's something that your employer is going to be able to provide to you so that you can provide that to the lender so that they will know that, yes, indeed, you have been offered this position. Yes, indeed, it does start on this date, and this is the expected salary. This is any type of a bonus structure. So that will be documented, and that letter will suffice for the lenders as far as the employment aspect goes. So again, all of these papers, it's kind of a fast and furious thing. You have to give them all this information, and it's stressful. It's overwhelming. It's a lot of paperwork. You feel like it's invasive, right? It's like, this is my personal life. By the way, as the realtor, I'm not privy to all of that stuff. I don't know what your credit score is unless you want to tell me, or sometimes the lender will say, hey, they need to do a little bit of credit repair, or hey, they've got fantastic credit. But very rarely am I ever given an actual number. I don't really know what your salary is. Those are candid and confidential conversations that you have with your lender. And again, some of that you can certainly share with your realtor, but that conversation is a little bit more personal. So that can go specifically with the lender. And that's why I work on the parameter of what does that pre-approval letter look like? What is the number that they gave me? So-and-so is pre-approved for a maximum purchase amount of such and such with a maximum loan amount of such and such. And this is the loan structure, conventional with 5% down. Right? So those are the parameters with which I am working. Your job, and this is your job, by the way, you do need to work efficiently and quickly to get these documents to the lender when they need them. And there are going to be a lot of things that they need at the very beginning of the process. Now, let's say you're doing a resale home and you're closing in 30 days. You're pretty much good to go. Submit all of those documents. Everything will be, going into underwriting, and you'll be good to go. You'll get that clear to close when it's time. If you all right? Okay. If, however, you are looking to do something that's going to take a little bit longer, maybe it's new construction and it's still got a few more months left to build, or maybe you're building from dirt, well, that's a much longer process. So even though you are pre-approved at the beginning of the process, you're not done because you're not officially pre-approved. No one is officially pre-approved until they get the 3 magic words, clear to close. When you get those 3 magic words, that means, okay, we're good, we're done. All of our boxes are checked off. All of the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed. Everything looks good. You are good to go, my friend, and you can go to that closing table. So even 2 days before closing, if you don't have the clear to close, then you're not officially in it. You've got to make sure that you're providing them documentation. And the reason I wanted to mention this is because if it is a longer process, keep in mind that it's very likely that they are going to be asking you for some of those very same documents that you sent them in the beginning of the process. They are probably going to ask for them again toward the end of the process. And you're going to be frustrated. You're going to okay, look, on January 17th of 2023, I sent you those documents and here's that email. Yeah, we know, but there's a multitude of people that are working behind the scenes to loan you hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so it is your duty to make sure that you are providing them with the documentation that they are requesting in a time efficient manner. That is for your benefit. That is for the oversight and the, just to the compliant factor to make sure that you have everything provided to them that they're going to need in order for you to officially secure that loan and have those 3 magic words given to you, clear to close. So anyway, so I just wanted to mention that. If you need more information on that, you can always kind of text me at 407-848-8042. But in all seriousness, if you are thinking about this anytime in the relatively near future, I feel like it's always a good thing for you to start to be proactive and get this information that you need accessible. And I really do. I tell clients to create a folder on your desktop of your computer and just put loan documents. And as these things are coming in, especially now that we are starting to get our paperwork because it's almost tax season, right? We've got to file our taxes. So there's going to be a lot of things kind of coming in. Start to stay organized with them so that when you need to submit them to the lender, you'll have things accessible.
You have some questions related.
Yes. So I saw a couple. So I am going to do that right now. Did I miss one, Eric? These are.
Sydney had a question and Rob had a question that were related to what you're talking
Yeah. Sydney, when you do investments, you mean 401k, CDs, IRAs, and personal stocks, all of it. Yes, Sydney. Yes. So this is Sydney's question. Yes. So when you are, and again, it's these. So the way it typically works when you start a loan process, the world that we live in, everything is computer based, right? So in most cases, the first thing that you are going to be instructed to do by the lender, even if you call them, the first thing they're going to tell you to do is to start the online application. So you're going to go to whatever their website is or their link, and you're going to You're going to start your online application. Once you complete that basic bit of information, then the lender has the information they need to do to start working behind the scenes, and then they will call you and discuss if there's anything else that they need to follow up on. So yes, if you have multiple investments in multiple different places, 401k, CDs, IRAs, stocks, any of that, yes, those are going to be, because those are assets to you, right? That proves that you have funds and assets elsewhere, and that might be important. There are a lot of people who need to use some of those investments in order, they need to pull the funds from them, cash them in, whatever the case is. And so in order for you to close on a home, you may be in a financial position to do the same. And so the lender is going to need to see that you actually have those funds. They're just tied up in investments right now that you could liquidate if you needed to. So that's a good question. Thank you. And then Rob, I guess having 200 million in the bank from hitting the lottery works too. Yeah, if you've got the cash in the bank, sure, my friend.
Hey, but you might tell them how it works if you're just doing cash.
Yeah. So yeah, if you are a cash buyer, sorry, thank you. So if you are a cash buyer, obviously the process is far less complicated because you don't need to go through all of that. Really what you need to do, because now you're not talking to a lender at all. Now you are just talking with whoever that seller is and the realtor, and we will need what we call a proof of funds. Proof of funds is, it can be a couple of different things. Some people like to go fancy with it, and so they go to their bank, their banking institution. They ask them to draft the letter that basically is the proof of funds, saying that yes, Mr. and Mrs. or so-and-so has X amount of money in their accounts, blah, blah, blah. However, we don't really need to get that fancy. I've had many clients where literally they'll take a screenshot of a bank statement and show us where that proof of funds is. However, it needs to have 3 things. It needs to have your full name. So we need to be able to see that it's your name on that account. We need to have the banking institution's name. So if it's Bank of America or Wells Fargo, whomever. And we also need to have the actual balance in it. What we don't want is your account number. So you would need to black that out because you don't want to send, you don't want to send all of your stuff. But that in most cases will suffice to show that as a proof of funds. But you can get an official letter from the bank. And if you do that, then all of the stuff that we're talking about with the with the lender is irrelevant because you're not taking out a mortgage. That also means your closing goes much faster. You can probably close on a home in about 2 weeks if you're a cash buyer. We still have to go through the logistics and the requirements of what the title company will do for us, which is the property search, the title search, things like that, making sure that all of that aspect is taken care of. Excuse me, but you don't necessarily have to go through all of that other mess. So that's a good question too. Okay, so real quick, let me go to the next what's brewing, and then we'll pop back over to that just because. Okay, so virtual staging. All right, so I am... Okay, so first of all, if you don't know what virtual staging is, let me talk about it. So virtual staging is exactly what it says. All right, so if you have a home, a listing, I have photos, a realtor has photos, and the home is vacant. So there's nothing in there. It could be a brand new home, so no one's ever moved into it before, or it could be a home where the seller has already moved out, but the home is vacant. There's no furniture, there's nothing on the walls. So you have those plain photos, those photos of the vacant home on the MLS. Well, there is something that as realtors we are allowed to do now, as long as we have disclosed that these photos have been, one or more have been virtually staged. We can go into a program and basically place furniture and artwork and things like that to basically give a better feel. Very similar to when you walk into a model home. Instead of going into a decorated model home, instead of walking into a vacant, empty model home, they've dolled it up to make it look a little bit more appealing to help you imagine yourself living in that home as opposed to just the four walls. So I actually have not done virtual staging before. I mean, I've had listings that were vacant, and we've never really seen the need to do that. We've also never really had the need to go to an actual staging company, which, by the way, is another great option. But I do have a listing that has been a bit of a challenge, and it is absolutely a head scratcher. There is no reason that this home has not sold yet. And this is why I tell people there is no magic crystal ball. There is no realtor in the world, no matter how new or how experienced, how successful or how not, that anyone can guarantee you how quickly your home will sell. All we can tell you is that based on the market, what that might look like. And sometimes you scratch your head and you're like, I don't know why. It's priced incredibly well. It was priced incredibly well when we listed it. We didn't even go crazy when we listed it because that's not who we are. We wanted to make sure it appraised. And we've offered closing cost contributions. The seller was offering a 2-1 buy down. Like, we've done everything possible. We've had, I can't even count how many open houses. And so, we're kind of getting to the point where it's like, okay, what else in the world can we do? So I was like, well, let me try to virtually stage these photos. And so this is an example. And I kind of, so here's why I'm pro for it, right? I'm for it because I think it really does. It dresses up the room and it can entice someone to come into the home that might otherwise have passed on it. On the flip side of that conversation, because I think on everybody's perspective, the other side is that I wouldn't want someone to see the photos of it virtually staged and come into the home and go, oh, well, this isn't what those pictures looked like. Well, yeah, but the furniture would have been going with the buyers or the sellers anyway. So here's an example. So this is one of the rooms. This is my actual listing photo. This is my listing photo after I staged it. This is the same home. Beautiful. Look at the beautiful flooring. This is it virtually staged. Yes, I can tell that it looks virtually staged. That's not my question. My question is, okay, so this is the lanai. Just added a little something out there. And then what's the other one? This is the loft area. We just kind of added a little, just kind of give it a little bit of a vibe there. What do you think of things like this? This is the little dining area. I just added some furniture and some drapes and a rug. And it's really, I don't know, I'm very mixed on it, but this is the home that has not sold. Look at that kitchen. Isn't it amazing? An island and a huge peninsula. Look at this again. Let's take a look again as we're doing this together. Huge master bedroom. Upstairs master, by the way. Okay, by the way, I have another picture with curtains on that one, just disclaimer. Family room area. Look at that. Beautiful porcelain tile extended throughout. Really big. By the way, this home has solar. It has a fenced in yard. You can see there's plenty of room if you want to build a pool. Huge lanai. It's an absolute head scratcher. I don't quite understand it. The sellers had it painted on the inside before we listed it. Honestly, it is truly a head scratcher. So, just a couple of questions there. So, like, what is your, as the normal, the general public, if you were to see a home, and you were to see those photos, and I ask this sincerely because, I think that the staging definitely helps the photos. Now, that's what I spent all day yesterday doing, was staging photos for this listing and then another listing that I have that we'll talk about in a minute. But this one, I was doing it as another way to kind of jumpstart to get some foot traffic into this home. So what are your thoughts about, about this? So I see that Sydney says, staging real or virtual is appreciated. Well, that's good. That makes me feel better. To do actual in-home staging, which, by the way, I am a big fan of that. I think they always look beautiful when you do that, but that costs money, right? Now, it costs me money to virtually stage them as well because there's a program that I have to pay for, but far, far, far less expensive than having a company come out and actually physically stage it with real furniture and decor. But I'm glad to hear that you think that. Jay, you said, I think it helps to show scale, how much furniture can fit in the room, etc. I think so too. Now, I will say this was my first go at it. I think I started to get the hang of it toward the end of the day yesterday. But I'm sure there are professionals out there with a much bigger library of things that they can pull in to really jazz up the home. But that was my first kind of go at it. Tammy, what did you say, my friend Tammy? Virtual staging really helps those that are visual people, since otherwise they can't see how to use the space. Agreed. Now, by the way, this woman right here, she needs no help visualizing anything because she and her husband have the best creative and talented minds ever with their home. But Tammy, I agree, because there are people that when you just see this big empty space, like for instance, that kitchen that has it has an island and it has a huge peninsula off to the side. So I see that and I'm immediately thinking of all of the people that are gathered around those areas eating. But yeah, for some people, they might go, I don't quite figure out how to use that. So maybe the staging helps. So I'll let you know how that works for me. Literally, we just did this last night. And we'll just see if those pictures make any difference, if it gets more people into the home. And that really is our key, is we're trying to get people into the home. We just are, and it's an absolute head scratcher. There's nothing wrong with the home. It is beautiful. It's in a great area. There's an amenity center. It's outside of Champions Gate, which is a great area, super close to Disney. I don't know. It's literally, it's a head scratcher. So anyway, that being the case, thank you for your input on that. So that was our last topic. So now on that note, we're going to talk real quick about, let me see if I can find it, of a couple of, so this is, I forgot Eric did a new little opening. So this is, these are my current listings. And this, so let's go to the one at 204 Whirlaway. So that is the home that I just showed you the virtual staged photos of. That home has been on the market now for almost 6 months. And that is, first of all, timing is absolutely everything. So it was listed right when things started to kind of level off, and a lot of people were still thinking they could list up here. Not my clients. They were very commonsensical about everything. But it was the time in the market where things were starting to switch a little bit, to shift ever so slightly. And even though we priced it really well, then we start to head into the holiday season, right? And so once you hit the October, November, December timeline, there's really not a lot of people. People are moving, sure they are, but most people don't voluntarily move when it's the holiday season. Again, unless you've been relocated for work or whatever your personal life story and situation is, most people don't voluntarily uproot everything. So that was also part of it, slow foot traffic for the holidays. But it's honestly, but look, I mean, it's got solar, it's got a big fenced in backyard. So that's the one on Whirlaway out in Davenport. We've reduced it now to $449. So we tried to get it under that $450 mark. Great price, by the way. I have a feeling it would have praised for substantially more than that. But
the comps 480.
Yeah, the comps, exactly. The comps are 480. So there's, I don't know. Someone please buy it. Someone please buy it. Okay. So one of you bought it. Oh my gosh, I would love you forever. I love you forever anyway. But okay, so let's go over a couple of the other ones. So there's a new one that's going to be going active today. I'm excited about this one. 3324 Canna Lily. This is in a community called Waterbrook by Madame E. Homes. They literally just moved into the home, turned around and moved out because they found another home that they liked better. They got the ability to do that, so okay. Beautiful Estero floor plan. It is 3 bedrooms plus a flex space. Let me tell you, their design choices on this home are beautiful. It also backs up to a pond. It is quite lovely. Waterbrook is a gated community, and it is out in Claremont, and it is new in the sense that, I mean, they're still building in there, but lots of people already live in there. So it's more toward the end stages of the community development. Oh, I do. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
All my hard work.
Eric did all his hard work and I wasn't doing it. Okay, sorry. So yeah, so that's Canada. All right, let me go back. So make Eric happy. This is Whirlaway. This is the one where I just showed you the stage photos, okay? This is another one that we're going to talk about. This is a brand new, and when I mean brand new, I mean literally brand spanking new. So I did not assist these sellers when they initially purchased this home. This is a townhome in a place called Enclaves at Festival, which is in the Champions Gate area. This is in Ashton Woods is the builder. And let me tell you, this is absolutely a stunning townhome. We have it priced incredibly well. This one is at, it's actually $424,900, but that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I forgive you.
$1,000 off today.
Woo! Yes, $1,000 discount. It is absolutely beautiful. It's 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. The primary bedroom upstairs is crazy awesome. That video tour, when is the video going active? It already did. So I guess it went active yesterday. So this is that home if you happen to see our latest home tour. Anyway, so this one, now what I want to tell you about this one. So Tammy, ears up. So this one is in an area. So first of all, it is in a community called, again, Enclaves at Festival. It is a resort style community with ridiculously wonderful amenities, like a pirate ship splash thing for the kids, the pool, there's mini golf, there's an arcade, there's everything there. And it is, again, very close to Disney. It's right there in the Champions Gate area. And when I say Champions Gate, if you're not familiar with Champions Gate, don't worry, we got you, because Eric and I are going to do a Sunday drive through Champions Gate at some point and give you the overview of what that area looks like, because it is very nice. It is a great spot where you can live permanently. It can be your primary residence. It can also be an investment property or a place for you to own an investment property, because it is zoned, some areas are zoned short-term rental. This particular community is. So you can rent this out as an investment property, Airbnb, whatever you want to do. Rent it out for a day, for a week, for a month, for a year. That's fine. You can also live in it for 4 months and rent it out for, however many months out of the year you want to. It's a completely versatile property. And it is, I'm not kidding, it is absolutely spectacular. So what you can't see by this photo is that right where we're looking at perspective of, it's a cul-de-sac. So it's the very end of the street. There's water in front of it and there's water back behind it. So beautiful, beautiful views in this particular townhome. I'll go to the next one. So, because I'm sure you're bored by now. This is another listing. Also, this one went active again just before the holidays. This is an end unit townhome in a community called Hawksmoor in Horizon West in Winter Garden. This is a beautiful, again, it's an end unit. So there's lots of sunshine that floods into that one. That one is also a 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath with a flex space, completely different builder, different layout, but the nuts and bolts are very similar. Has a detached garage with a little bit of a courtyard area in it as well. That one is not short-term rental. This one is for a year lease at a time. And then the next one is Canna Lily. And I think I was talking about that one before. And so, yeah, this one is quite lovely. Also brand new. They did live in it for a couple of months, but they actually later on today, we're going to take the photos and the video. And that one will be up and active later on this afternoon. So anyway, so there's that part of it. Okay, so I'm going to see if there's, Susan Forsgren is here. Good morning, Susan. Sorry, I'm late. I've got to set an alarm so I don't miss you on the Mondays. Aw, I love you. Don't worry about that. That's okay. Yes. And Julia, can I consider St. Cloud for a future Sunday drive, please? Yes, of course. Yeah, we have a lot of places that are on our list. We want to be a little bit more thorough and cohesive, like a complete full thought process for each of the Sunday drives that we do. So often Eric and I were trying to squeeze them in. And, while the information was still good, and I'm sure they were probably still entertaining, we just wanted to be a little bit more, exact with what we were trying to do so that we weren't just, flooding it with Eric and I driving around. So yeah, so that'll be part of our plan as well. All right. So real quick, I'm going to see if there's any other questions, and then I'm going to go on to my next piece of it. So Kim, what are your thoughts of the new Horizon West Regional Park? Well, we're very excited. Those of us that are here, I mean, anything that you can add. Oh, Eric, look at Eric, Mr. Producer Man. So can you see it? Did I put it up there well enough? So yeah, so this is basically the outline of where that area is going to be. So we're super excited. Anytime something new kind of comes up here in this area, or it's talked about, or it's permitted, or there's just whispers about something, we all get very excited because, we invested in this area emotionally. And think about the people that purchased out here when it was just a word, it was just new land, and it was a place called Horizon West. And they did not, we knew what the plan was for what it was going to look like by the time all was said and done. But those first people that purchased out here, they really did have to take a leap of faith. And I'm sure they are loving it right now. But for those of us who over these past few years have been a part of what's been making it grow, we get very, very excited when we see things like this, something that the community can enjoy, right? Where it's something where all of us, our friends, our family, our neighbors, we can go and we can enjoy it, whether it's just a quick stroll down the paths or a picnic or remember, it's Florida. So we really, really, really have a overwhelming kind of an outdoor activity in our lifestyle. So we're excited to have another place another place to go to kind of enjoy it. So Rob, your question, how does someone living in a home for a few months and selling it affect the 1-year inspection stuff? Very good question, Rob. We can always count on you for good stuff. So here is an interesting little tidbit. So and I have to say most cases now, I thought it was a given, but I have learned that it may not be a given. So it is my job to make sure that if there is a situation that we find out about it. So okay, so if you have purchased a new construction home, and this is kind of what Rob is referencing, if this is a brand new construction home, and he knows that we have a 1-year warranty with the builder, which is, I say bumper to bumper, but of course there's going to be things that the builder says that they do not cover. But generally speaking, if something goes wrong with your home within that first year, the builder will take care of it. And that doesn't include you getting mad and punching holes in the wall, but other things that actually have to do with your home and its function and the operation of it. So you have that 1-year warranty with a builder. You'll have a 2-year electrical, plumbing, HVAC, kind of what's back behind the walls. And then you typically have a 10-year structural warranty. So Rob's question is, if somebody moves into the home and they're in there for a couple of months and then they move out, what happens to the remainder of that warranty for that 1 year? Does it then transfer over to the new homeowners? And the question, or the answer to that question, should be, and in most cases is, that it will transfer to the new homeowners, because it's supposed to be that the warranty is attached to the property, not the homeowner. However, I did have a builder this past year tell me, and this was a conversation I had. I was making sure that they were taking care of my. Long story, but bottom line is I knew that the people living in the home now were not the original owners, but they also purchased it in a very quick time period from when the original sellers purchased to when they were turning around and selling it. And there's these new homeowners, it was getting ready to come up on the 1-year warranty. And I said, make sure you reach out to them. And when I talked to the warranty person, he's like, oh, well, they're not the original owner. So it goes to the, it goes with the owner. So, they don't own the home anymore. So that's null and void. I'm like, well, you're not warrantying the owners of the home. I would assume you're warranting your work, right? And so when I had that conversation, I said, if that's the case, I said, I need to know this because you will be the only builder that I know of that does not honor a warranty that you provide for a building or a structure that you built just because somebody else bought it very quickly. So needless to say, he honored the warranty and was taking care of them. But Rob, that is a fantastic question because, you know, I understand what builders do. I understand their process, their policies, their procedures. I agree with some of it. I don't agree with some of it. That is one I most definitely do not agree with. If a builder ever gives any pushback on, hey, if you're not the original owner, then that warranty doesn't transfer. Well, then that, you know what, that's shameful, candidly, because you're not giving a warranty that original person. In my opinion, it's the work, it's the structure that you built. That's what you are trying to show good faith in, that you built a good product and that you're going to take care of it, not just the original homeowner. Anyway, so that's my thought process on that one. So Jim, hi Jim, we're gonna see you guys soon. Cheryl and I want to know if it's easy to get new driver's licenses and cars registered. Yes, actually it is very easy. So let me tell you this, and I have a new sheet that I'm going to start handing out. I believe Allie is working on it for me. What you do once you close. And so, yes, it is easy to get new driver's licenses and your cars registered. You can actually schedule your driver's license appointment online. And I will tell you that the DMVs here in Florida, believe it or not, are pretty efficient. They will, you just basically, you know, you do your appointment, you go there, you sit down, they have the screens everywhere, and then they call your name up. And it's honestly, it's much faster than the way it used to be. As far as the registration, there is an app. Hold on, let me see if I can find it, because I just had to do this the other day, and I think it's called, is it My Florida? Yes, it's called My Florida. Okay. Yeah. Yes. I was like, I don't know if I can show you this, but I'll show you. Okay. I'll show you this. So this is the My Florida thing. So you can go to this app, and again, it's called My Florida, and it's, I don't know if I can show you what it's just got a little thingy. That's the little, what do you call it? The little icon or whatever. So if you do the My Florida, you can actually renew your registrations there. So when you're doing it for the first time, it might not be the same process or procedure, but when you go to renew them from now on, super easy. It honestly, I think people don't want people to talk to people anymore. They just want you to do everything through bots. But I will say it was very helpful. You just punch in your information and you can renew it right there through the app, and you are good to go. But for your sake, because you will be moving from out of state, make an appointment at the DMV and you will be good to go, my friend.
Tax collectors here.
Yes, that's right. That's right. It's the tax collector's office here. So don't freak out if you're like, why am I going to the tax collector's office? That's where they do that in most cases. Okay. Do what? All right. Eric wants me to shut up. Oh, okay. All right. Eric has a new graphic. So here's our congratulations. Oh, sorry. You're back to me now. Okay. So Eric did this new graphic. Congratulations. So last week when we were talking, by the way, I'm in such a delay. I don't know if I'm in a delay for you guys, but when I see myself, I'm like talking 5 seconds behind me, but whatever. Last Monday, we talked about Amy and Mike had just come in town. I'm happy to say that Amy and Mike have found their dream home, and they're signing the contract today. Got everything worked out. Beautiful home with dream finders. One of my favorite floor plans. It is the Anna Maria with the bonus. So they're super excited. It's the perfect home, perfect layout for them and their family needs that they have. So congratulations to them. Tiffany and Jessica, excited for them. They are listing their home, and so they are on to their next part of their journey. And Nick and Leslie. So this is one that, boom, things happen really, really, really fast sometimes. And, had some clients that were coming in town. Actually, they weren't coming in town. They were calling, looking for some assistance and some guidance, and talking to a few different realtors to find one that would kind of mesh with them. And that
was Friday.
That was Friday. That was the first time that they reached out. We had a 2-hour Zoom call with them, and as we were talking about places, They had things narrowed down into a specific area that they were most interested in because they had been here prior to the holidays. And then I started talking about another area that was also on their list, but they had never had time to explore it. And you know what? I applaud them because it is an important enough and an expensive enough decision they booked a flight and they came in. So they were here Saturday and Sunday. They're probably on a plane right now, heading back home. But in the course of that whirlwind 2 days, they were able to explore another area that was on their radar. They just had not been able to see it and explore it in person. And we are actually submitting an offer today. So I'll follow up as to whether or not we can get that all taken care of for them.
I got to do my thing.
What?
So you're not giving yourself enough credit. They talked to you for 2 hours and you knew a lot of things they didn't know and you helped them. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Well, thank you, dear. That is probably true. Yes.
Okay.
I know, but whatever, it's fine. Anyway, but yeah, so we have lots of congratulations. We're super excited for everybody that's either selling or buying or exploring. Super happy about that. Okay, so let me just double check, see if there's anything in here. So Tracy, real quick, you were the first one to pop on this morning and you had a question and I promised you that I would address it. So let me do that real fast and then we'll kind of go over to the other stuff and then I'll let you guys get on with your Monday. All right, so Tracy said, what are the steps of buying a home? Is it saving money or getting financing? So it's a little bit of both. So if you've never purchased before, or if you were just like, it is so overwhelming, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do and when. Well, then first of all, text me or call me and we'll talk you through it. But when it comes to the money part, which obviously is the important part too, it's you need to know how much you can afford so we know what home you can buy, right? If you don't know where to start, then a couple of things that you can do is, candidly, you can speak to a lender. When you speak to a lender, you are not obligated to use them. If you choose to use a different lender, that is your prerogative. I've had lots of clients that do their pre-approval with one of my favorite lenders here. And then ultimately they end up doing new construction. And so they use the builder's preferred lender, but it didn't cost them anything to do the initial pre-approval. But what that does is when you find that good lender, which is again why I refer my people to the lender that I do, is because they will assist you through your scenario, whatever your situation is. They will do a credit pull because they typically have to do that because they need to know how best to advise you. I've had clients where they pulled a credit and the credit was a little bit low. And so instead of turning them away saying, hey, there's no way you can get a loan right now because your credit score is too low, they say, right now we need to work on credit repair. And these are the steps, and these are the things you need to do over the next several months to get your credit score back up to a place where it is going to be more beneficial to you when you're trying to take out a loan. So I would say there's a couple of things that you can do. Number one is make sure that your credit is good, and that you don't, that you're paying your bills on time, and that from that aspect, you're good to go. Make sure that you are paying down credit cards or paying them off. But you also do need to make sure that you have actual funds, what they call as a reserve. So you do need to have an amount of money saved up. So yes, you need to save as well, because no matter what type of a loan, you're going to need to have some kind of cash on hand. If you go resale, 1% to 2% typically can get it done to get your offer accepted. In a more competitive environment, you may need to go higher, but 1% to 2% is less than what you would have to do with new construction, where you're talking anywhere from 5% to 10% with new construction down at the time of contract. So even to get the contract going, you need to have some accessible funds. But that would be my suggestion, Tracy, is to figure out what your timeline is. Are you thinking, I really need to do something by the end of this year? Then you know what? Reach out to a lender and find out, is there any, am I ready now? Am I in good shape now? Or what do I need to do in preparation to get myself there? And that honestly is the conversation I have for every single client that doesn't quite know what their next step should be, because it can be overwhelming. But before we do anything, we need to know how much of a home can you purchase based on your own situation and story. And that's where, again, like I was saying in the beginning of the conversation, so much of your financial story is a confidential one between you and the lender. You know, I am certainly happy to listen to everybody's story. I do it all the time, but you know, that aspect of it, you know, needs to come from the financing professional. So, very good. Okay. I think
there's another question. We do Zillow first.
Zillow. All right. Eric wants me to do
I'm
Zillow.
excited about the Zillow.
Okay. He's all right. Where's Zillow? Where's Zillow?
It's right there.
There's so many. Oh, Zillow. I found it. Here's Zillow. Okay, so this is in Joshua Tree, California. It's just a mere 18 million, 3 bedrooms, 4 baths, 5,470 square feet. This is the invisible house. It's all glass, is that right? And mirrors, yeah. So first of all, I think it's like 60 acres. Is that what you said, huh? Yeah, so it's a lot of land. So that's part of the, sorry, my phone's ringing. Sorry. Okay, there we go. That was my Virginia phone. I've got 2 phones. So yeah, it's made of glass and windows. So take a look at this. So you've got this long, skinny pool, but everything is open. Now, I understand that you don't have a neighbor, as we call in Florida. You don't have a rear neighbor, right? So it's definitely private, but I mean, I'm assuming that there's some sort of window treatment, but looking at that picture, I don't know. I mean, it also looks very industrial. So what is the energy efficiency of that when it comes to heating and cooling it? Because windows, I mean, there's got to be some kind of a built-in shade or blind or tent or something. But let's face it, isn't that pretty awesome? Like to see the sky reflected or the landscape reflected in it, it is seriously wicked awesome. But would I want to live in it? Probably not. But it is pretty cool. What do you think about that one? Let us know. By the way, I love it. I get you guys every once in a while. You send me some Zillows that I love. So thank you. But yeah, I don't know about that one. By the way, I also have a question here. So, and this is totally fine. So you'll notice this is 3 bedrooms and 4 full baths. I could understand if it was 3 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, but sometimes I wonder why are there more bathrooms than there are bedrooms? Unless you have a full bath as a pool bath, then that would make sense, right? That's like its own detached from the rest of the home bathroom that's by a pool that has the shower. That would make sense, I guess. But in most cases, I always find it a little bewildering as to why there would be more bathrooms than there are bedrooms. Now, trust me, that's my kind of house. But I kind of wonder sometimes. Okay. All right. Are you happy with your Zillow, babe?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, cool. All right, so then, real quick, I'm going to hit this one, Disney Girl CT. If new construction contracts are standard and no changes can be made, why does a condition like warranties vary between builders? So here's the thing. The actual warranty, it's pretty much the same warranty. It's a 1, 2, 10. And in most cases, it's an outside company that kind of has the documentation of that. But you're correct. It's the warranty aspect is a little bit different, and it's a weird conversation. And I've never, ever, ever had a builder other than this one do that. And sometimes, candidly, I feel like either they don't know or they're just lazy and they don't want to take care of somebody. And that resonates with me because if you know me and you've heard me talk before, I always say my measure of a builder is how they recover when something goes wrong, because something always does. And so when I have a builder that, implies that, they're not going to take care of somebody, they're not going to take care of their home that they built, a year after they built it, even if the homeowner has changed, that resonates with me. And this is honestly something that has been relatively new. So I'm going to be digging a little bit deeper and doing my own research. I've got my great builder contacts. So I'm going to kind of put some feelers out there in a non-judgmental way and find out what is the norm there, because I thought that was a little bit interesting. Okay. All right. So one other thing. So I have to talk to you before I go today that next week I am not going to be here. You're going to have Eric. I know you're going to be excited. No, everyone's good. I don't even know why I do this. I'm really irrelevant to the whole process. But anyway, so Eric will be doing coffee time because next Monday, this exact time, I will be on an airplane. So I will be leaving an answer to to a couple of your questions. So I am going to New York this week. I'm actually going to be gone for a while. Now, I'm not going on vacation. So for anyone that is a current client, I will be accessible. The only time I'm not accessible is when I will either be in the air traveling or when I am sitting in a Broadway show and I turn my phone off. Because the first leg of my trip is that I'm going to meet with some dear, dear, dear friends, Chip, Jeff, and Mark, all from the Governor's Magnet School for the Arts that I used to teach at years ago back in Virginia. We have several of our former students are making their name on Broadway. And so when Chip came to visit a couple months ago, we made a comment about maybe planning a New York trip. And so we did. So we are going to see a lot of shows in a very short period of time. I'll be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I leave Monday, but instead of flying back to Florida, I'm going to fly to Virginia and go spend some time with my mom and my family because I haven't seen them in quite a while either. But we're going to go see Funny Girl, MJ. We have a former student in MJ. Another former student is in Six, Juliet, and then Book of Mormon. We've got students in all those shows. Former students, they're like adult professionals now. But it's really going to be nice to see these kids that I used to teach tap dance to many moon ago, making their name in the big lights. So anyway, so that's going to be where I am. And again, if you are an existing client, don't worry, I'm not leaving you. I'm not going on vacation. I'm not going to be isolated from the world. I'm just doing a trip to New York. It is going to be, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 shows in 4 days. Yeah. So we're basically going to be going from a matinee to the evening performance, zippity zip. But that's okay. That's what we're there for. And then again, heading to Virginia to see my mom and my sisters and my brother and nieces and nephews. And again, haven't seen them in a while. So it's going to be a nice visit. And, but Eric will be here to man the fort for coffee time next week, although he doesn't drink coffee. So it'll be soda time.
I'm going to drink my first cup of coffee next week.
You're going to drink your first cup of coffee?
I'm going to drink a cup of coffee for the first,
You heard it here. That's your hook. Jeez. Anyway, all right, my friends. So I think I got everything. Eric, did I get everything?
Yeah.
I believe I did. All right, so let me just do a quick thing. Is there any other questions before I go? Sydney, you did say, will I be in New York for pleasure or for business? So obviously it's more for pleasure, but I'm sure I might be doing, we're going to try to do a little interview spot while I'm there. I'm going to be a guest on Coffee Time if we can get the technical aspect of it all figured out, so that I'll be coming to you from New York next week. No, it won't. Well, yes, I will, but not really.
Yeah, you will.
Anyway, all right, guys. So thank you again for joining in. I really appreciate you guys sharing some time with me every Monday morning. I also appreciate your input, like today, your opinions on the virtual staging. I appreciate that. Realtors have conversation among realtors, and the realtors aren't the ones buying the homes. It's you. And so I like to think about things from your perspective. And since I have you here at my disposal, I definitely appreciate kind of your input on things like that. And again, if you need anything at any point in time, you can always call me at 407-848-8042. If you haven't already, don't forget, Eric likes me to remind you to like or subscribe.
Like the video.
Like the video. That will help us, especially since we do this on a Monday morning, which is not the most desirable time to do it as far as the other analytics go, but who cares? Anyway, guys, all right, please stay safe, stay well. I'm going to put my wrap up. There we go. Please stay safe, stay well. Remember, we love you. And as always, guys, happy hunting, and I'll see you soon. Bye.